Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Oregon. We've been covering the armed group of men in Oregon who have occupied a federal building with weapons in protest of so-called government tyranny. The group is led in part by Ammon Bundy, the son of Nevada rancher Cliven Bundy, who was involved in his own armed standoff with federal officials because he didn't want to pay grazing fees on land that he was using. It hasn't all been smooth sailing for this group of men. First, there was this request for snacks that they issued, clearly failing to plan ahead, asking for everything from mayonnaise to board games. And what else did they want, Lewis? There was all sorts of weird stuff on the list.
Yeah, aprons, but I don't know. Yeah, a lot of strange stuff.
They wanted aprons too. That's right. So then Robert Finicum, who's one of the most visible members of this armed group of men, says his four foster sons were taken away due to his involvement in the standoff. He says it's a conspiracy involving the governor and the federal government. Then 57-year-old Darrow Burke was cited for driving without a license after police found his vehicle flipped over during the weekend. The cause of the flip was apparently the snow, but you still need a license in order to drive a car. And now the broader glitch may be the prison time that some of these guys could eventually face. And I say eventually because we don't know if anyone's going to put a stop to this insanity. Cliven Bundy kind of won in his standoff, and maybe Ammon Bundy will also win. Legal experts say that the leaders of the armed occupiers could face up to 10 years or more of prison time if the government decides to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. Of course, as we know, Lewis, right-wing anti-government terrorists are often not prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Different story, though. That's a different analysis to do.
And can you imagine what would happen if, those people with handcuffs came knocking on the door and said, you're under arrest? I mean, we would have, guns pointed at police officers and vice versa, and it would blow up way more than this.
And there are all sorts of laws about specifically the occupation of federal buildings, the use of firearms. I mean, there really is a pretty substantial framework for prosecution of these individuals. I still don't understand why this is allowed to continue. I mean, stop the inflows of food and supplies and snacks and aprons and all that stuff. Cut off the power and water to the building. Won't they give up pretty soon if you do that? I mean, that seems like something you could do.
I think that would be the ideal situation. I mean, you basically lay siege to the building, and just wait them out. They're going to give up eventually anyway.
You think?
I think so. Well, as we just talked about one story there, one of these guys has 4 kids, has 4 sons.
Not anymore, apparently.
I guess he thinks this is more important than taking care of his family.
This, as embarrassing as this is for Yokel Haram, as we've called them, it also raises some serious questions about why they've been getting away with this for such long periods of time. I mean, that's a serious conversation to be had.
I think it's clear. I think that the authorities don't think there's anything to gain by going in guns blazing. So that's what they're trying to avoid. Maybe they think that if they did that, it would end in bloodshed, and then they would turn these guys into martyrs of some sort. I don't know.
All of a sudden, authorities really don't want this to come to violence. Wow, I wonder what created that desire in their minds. We want to hear from you on this. Lewis is on Twitter at Lewis Motomedy. I'm on Twitter at DPakman.